The film opens and we meet Jae-hyuk, a former professor with a doctorate in biochemistry, who is currently working as a pharmaceutical sales representative after losing his life savings and his job, due to a bad investment he made in the stock market on the advice of his younger brother. Jae-hyuk is working as a glorified nanny for his boss's family. He takes them back home and sits to talk to his boss who just wants him to leave. Jae-hyuk is frustrated. He calls his friend that got him the job to let him know that he shouldn't be living like this and he won't be coming to work tomorrow. On his way back home, he meets his brother Jae-pil, a police officer, who tries to apologize and talk to him, but Jae-hyuk is too angry at his brother and tells him to leave. He heads inside to see his wife and 2 kids eating a ton load of pizza that Jae-pil left for them. Much to his frustration that he heads to bed. His wife tells him that she may be thinking about getting a job or going somewhere with the kids because he is always so irritated at them, and he explains that after his bad decision his life has gone downhill but he is still trying. Jae-pil is working with one of his friends to uncover the reason for a large stock buy-up by Jae-hyuk's company Choa Pharmaceuticals. His friend says that he is sure, which makes Jae-pil angry since the last info he gave messed up his brother's life, so he slaps him around. Jae-pil Trahan meets with his wife to try and borrow money for stock trading, as he is desperately trying to repay his debt to his brother for messing up his life. His wife later tries to plead with Jae-hyuk to forgive his brother but Jae-hyuk just wants to drink. Later he walks in on his wife and kids hiding in a room eating another potload of food. That night, by the river, a couple is walking by. The man stops to take a leak in the river when he spots something strange in the water. He tries to get a closer look and ends up falling in, only to reveal a corpse floating beside him. Jae-pil is called to the scene and his co-worker warns him to brace himself for the sight. He uncovers the body only to scream in disgust. The body is taken back to the morgue where the coroner explains that the body had been severely dehydrated despite being in water, and similar cases have been popping up. More bodies begin showing up in the river which makes the news. Jae-hyuk's wife is worried but he does not care. He just wants to get on with his day to play golf. Jae-pil is given the task to investigate the case of the woman in the river, as her family has also been found dead, while Jae-hyuk's wife gets a call that her father has passed. Jae-hyuk is out on the golf course with his co-workers, when his boss suddenly gets extremely thirsty. Jae-hyuk hands him a bottle of water but it is not enough. He runs and dives into the water, forcing his head underwater and taking it all in. He drowns before Jae-hyuk can get to him, who turns him over to find him looking dried up. Jae-pil turns up at the remote location to investigate the family's death, only for the village chief to tell him that they ruled it a suicide and that their little town depends on tourism. Jae-pil is forced to sleep in his car overnight in the town. He wakes up only to see the river beside him full of bodies. The cases begin to rise around the country, sending everyone into panic. Starting with Seoul, dead bodies with similar signs of malnutrition are found every morning in rivers all across the country. The police have trouble understanding the cause of the sudden deaths, as all the victims don't show any physical symptoms but look gruesome as soon as they jump into the water. One victim is found dead in his bathtub, but there are also unidentifiable worm-like organisms swimming next to his dead body. Officials at the Ministry of Health find out that these organisms are parasitic horsehair worms that normally use insects as hosts, but became mutated into a new form that allows them to infect human bodies as well. The sudden change in appearance that was seen consistently in all victims was caused when the parasites escaped the bodies in the water. As soon as the news gets out, the government makes a public announcement urging people who have been in or near water, and show symptoms of hunger and thirst, to get checked out. Countless people rush to hospitals. Pharmacies are crowded with people desperate to get anthelmintics. Matters become worse when more people jump into rivers overnight and dead bodies float around every morning. The news breaks on TV while Jae-hyuk is rushing home from work. The news states that showing excessive signs of hunger or thirst are symptoms of infection. At home his wife and kids are drinking water like crazy and he urges them to get to a hospital. At the hospital, Jae-pil tries to help out the infected until he spots the village chief hiding away in a corner. The chief is distraught and says that this is all his fault. Before he can get more info, Jae-pil gets a call telling him that his brother's children are all infected, and he tries to rush over, but immediately, hospital patients come bursting out of the hospital, jumping into fountains, puddles and nearby rivers as the infection begins to spread. Jae-pil tries to stop a few people but the others all dive into their deaths. A national emergency is then declared with over 3,000 deaths and 100,000 infections nationwide. Jae-hyuk and his family head over to one of the many centers set up for infected persons. At the river, Jae-pil sits and speaks with the chief, who confesses that he saw persons from Choa Pharmaceuticals dump dogs into the river one night, and he buried the dogs in the hills to hide it from the authorities due to it being tourist season. The following month a few tourists died, however he still did not come forward to say anything. At the hospital, one patient is surrounded by doctors and scientists. He claims that he was cured by a drug called windazole. Once this news hits the public, Jae-hyuk runs to every pharmacy he knows to get a hold of the drug, but they are all sold out in a day. He returns to the center to see that all the families have been forced to leave and the doors are locked. That night chaos erupts and people try drowning themselves. Police are forced to tackle people in the street and keep them locked in stores, but they eventually find water. At the center, people are fighting to leave and fighting over what little water is left inside. Government officials contact the pharmaceutical company in charge of making windazole, Choa Pharmaceuticals, and demand that they increase supply. However, ever since being acquired by an investment company, the devices involved in creating the drug were poorly managed and the company fails to make a single pill. Jae-hyuk then gets a call from one of his co-workers that he has located a batch of drugs. He turns up and they bribe the guard to get inside and get a box of the drug. He tries to leave, but a mother with her baby changes his mind and he offers her one of the pills. However, one man from the crowd of people trying to get in sees this and they all mob him, biting him to get him to release the drug, leaving him crying in the street. He reaches out to his wife, and tries to reassure her that he is trying his best, trying to fight back the tears. As he sits and talks with his coworker, he learns that overnight the drug was pulled off production and out of the stores, and he gets an idea and runs off. Jae-pil then meets with his friend who tells him that he tracked down the persons who bought up shares in the company right before the outbreak, and he traced one of the buyers back to Choa Pharmaceuticals. Jae-hyuk finds a black market dealer online and turns up to get the medicine. However, the police turn up and another attempt to save his family is lost. Jae-pil then discovers evidence that this was all planned out by workers at Choa Pharmaceuticals. He finds someone who used to work at the research team at Choa and threatens him to tell the truth. The researcher confesses the entire story. A few years back, the researchers at Choa learned about the parasite and thought that finding out the protein involved in controlling the brain might help with finding a cure to other brain diseases such as Alzheimer's. The team was successful in making a mutant version that used mammals as hosts and seemed to be on the way to success with their research when the company was sold, and the research team was disbanded. Some of the researchers who were angry about the whole incident came together and agreed to take part in a collective stock manipulation scheme, in which they bought a bunch of stocks and released the parasite after storing away 100,000 packets of the drug. Consequently, hundreds of thousands of tourists became infected over the summer as they went to rivers for vacation. One of the researchers then acted as if he had been treated by the drug in order to raise stock prices. The brothers and the researcher turn up at the warehouse where the researcher told them the drug would be. Jae-pil tells Jae-hyuk that his wife is on her way with transport for the boxes, but Jae-hyuk cannot wait and they rush in to find the large boxes stashed away. Just then, a Molotov cocktail is thrown in and a large fire erupts. They try to make their way out only to find that the door has been locked. Just outside, a mysterious figure turns up and murders the researcher in the car. The brothers are trapped, and Jae-pil apologizes and they both make up before passing out in the fire. Before they are burnt though, Jae-pil's wife turns up with the truck and pull them from the fire. Jae-pil wakes with paramedics around him and he rushes back into the warehouse to see that none of the drug was saved and he breaks down crying. His wife calls and she tells him that she cannot hold out much longer and he tearfully reassures her that everything will be okay. His kids cry for him and he cannot hold in his tears much longer. Then, the security comes to take her phone away. A while later, a mother screams in terror as worms burst from her child and other persons one by one. Jae-pil then finds out that the murdered researcher had actually been the head of the research team and was a close friend to the CEO. He learns that the other researchers had already run away overseas and that the head of the team was just staying behind to see how things panned out. Thus, the entire plan was premeditated and taken out by the CEO and the researchers from the beginning. Jae-hyuk is in despair but suddenly realizes, based on his knowledge of chemistry, that as long as he is able to create a drug with the same active ingredient as windazole, he should be able to treat his family. He does not necessarily need windazole itself. He leaves Jae-pil and heads over to the facility with the truck, but a large crowd of protesters are blocking his path. Jae-yun makes his way to the front of the crowd and begs them to help him get inside so that they can save their families. The crowd then begin to fight the guards at the gate, forcing them aside. Jae-hyuk then bursts through the gates and makes his way to the storage to get the ingredient. Meanwhile, the CEO suggests that the government buy the company in its entirety, which would then allow them to find out the drug's composition and make more of it for the rapidly increasing number of patients. The price the CEO offers is completely unreasonable at 5 billion won, and most government officials are against the idea, but the Prime Minister says there is no other option and is about to sign the contract. In the nick of time, he is informed of the whole scam and the CEO is arrested. Jae-hyuk makes his way into the facility, holding one of the researchers at gunpoint and gets to the drug. The other researchers help him out and get the drug loaded into the truck. At the center, Jae-hyuk's wife spots a woman making her way to a fire alarm and struggles with the woman to stop. The other people see the sprinklers in the roof and chaos erupts. Jae-pil arrives just in time to see the infected fight for the alarm. He rushes to the maintenance room and locks off the pipe just in time. Jae-hyuk returns to the center and is finally reunited with his family. The movie ends with the new drug being distributed and Jae-hyuk and his family spending time at an amusement park. Jae-hyuk suggests the family go on vacation overseas altogether, preferably to a place with many drugstores. His wife laughs and asks if Jae-hyuk is worried that there might be parasites in other countries as well. Jae-hyuk smiles but suddenly freezes and whips around as the film suddenly transitions to a scene with a dead body floating in New York Harbor. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications, so you can watch more movies like this. Thanks for watching.